Good morning. Pull up my phone because I got a text from Glenn. He wanted me to do a few shout outs. Welcome to Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy. I'm Tom Moore and I'm recording live from our studio in Clovis, New Mexico, our headquarters at Farmers Electric Cooperative. And welcome to episode number 25 of Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy. So, Glenn Barleman, if you recall, is our IT manager, and he also is a talented drummer, so he actually does the intro and the outro on our show. So thanks, Glenn. I can never get enough of the drumming portion of the show. So Glenn's brother-in-law and wife, David and Allison Montoya, and they live in Pontiac, Michigan, and they have two dogs, Freddie and Georgie, and their two cats, Remus and Luna. So I'm guessing by the name of their two cats, they may be Harry Potter fans. David is the brother of Glenn's awesome wife, Crystal Barleman. So shout out to those Michiganders and their pets. So we are less than 3 weeks away from Christmas. So I hope you're doing all your shopping and getting all those things taken care of here. It's Saturday morning. It is December 6th, so we are 3 weeks away. If you live in Clovis, today could be a really great day. Any area, actually, you can do something similar in every area that, if you're within earshot of this show, which is everywhere in the world, actually, you can do something similar to this. So, but this is kind of, I wanted to talk up Clovis a little bit. I'm on the Main Street board here at Clovis. Main Street downtown, not-for-profit. And I wanted to talk up our downtown a little bit. So if you live in Clovis today, this could be a great day. Get up, get dressed. This show, you could listen to this show starting at 7 a.m. So as soon as the show's over, get after it. Maybe go get a breakfast burrito. Then take in some of the local shopping. These big stores, the national chains, they have enough for your money and everybody else's money. I'm talking about local brick and mortar stores. Maybe you try something different, some different places. Instead of those giant big box stores, maybe you go to Gebo's, Big R, Burns Do It Center. And while you're at Burns, swing by the High Plains Gun Shop. I mention these places because I really believe you could do the majority of your Christmas shopping there. I think you could be done today if you put your mind to it, because there's truly something for everyone. And of course, I like Gebo's, Big R, and Burns Do It Center, High Plains Gun Shop, because they all sell guy things, what I call guy things. Guns, ammo, camo, those kind of things, knives. So I have a fun time there. As the day goes on, go downtown and check out what Main Street has to offer. And there are a lot of quaint shops and boutiques down there. Also check out the new light fixtures. They are wrought iron, antique style fixtures. They have pedestrian lights they're just going in now, so they're not complete. But they've tore up part of Main Street. They've removed some of the bricks. They're doing some bump outs. They're going to be putting in irrigation system for those bump outs. So there's going to be trees within those bump outs. And of course, all the electrical and sound. They're going to actually have speakers running through to the street light post. So the street light post and pedestrian lighting. So it is really looking very cool. Try one of the mini eateries for lunch or an early dinner. Eddie's Subs and More is down there. Bandolero, it's a local brewery. And Red Door, same. New Mexico brewery, and some really great food. And then, by the time the sun is about to go down, find a place to park and take in the largest Christmas light parade in New Mexico. It's right here in Clovis. Downtown Clovis, starting at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Tonight. Saturday, December 6th, tonight. Sorry, I said tomorrow. So you don't want to miss that. So have a good time. Find something for that special person on your list. And like I said, I think you can get it all knocked out tomorrow if you wanted to. Last week we talked about questions to ask when you're shopping for a new HVAC system. And I actually have a little pamphlet on questions to ask when replacing your HVAC. It was put out by Touchstone Energy, togetherwesave.com, several years ago, but the questions are still pertinent. So I just grabbed a few other things that we've got in our lobby that you might be interested in. So that's one of them. Another one's outdoor electrical safety, and it's a trifold pamphlet, just electrical safety in general electrical safety. Got that one as well. We've got a trifold on save money to help the environment by using energy efficiency, so a number of different things in there. Here's another one, energy saver tips, ways to save energy in your home, and it's pretty in-depth. It's several pages, a little booklet, probably measures 5 by 7.5 or so. Another one, 101 Easy Ways to Save Energy and Money, another Touchstone Energy cooperative publication. Guide to Power Outages, how to stay safe and stay informed during power loss. This is another about the same size pamphlet, several pages, maybe 20 pages, probably 5 by 7.5. And one more that same size, called Electrical Safety on the Farm. And I just grabbed a handful of these, but these are free to the public. So come by and help yourself to any one of these or as many as you want of all the different ones. Last week we also talked about zone heating on a central system. And I've got a lot to cover, so I'm gonna go through this. Now, the first part is a more modern design, zone heating, which most of us aren't used to. But newer zone heating systems use smart controls, multiple thermostats, motorized dampers in the ductwork to divide a home into sections, or what we call zones, allowing for independent temperature control, saving energy by heating only occupied areas, and improving comfort with precise room-by-room adjustments, often integrating with smart home technology for effortless management. Again, this is the latest, greatest. It is probably pricey. I haven't looked into any pricing for this, like if you're going to build a home and this was going to be part of it, or if you're going to go in and retrofit your home and make modern zone heating part of it. But core components and how they work. Number one, thermostat. Each zone has its own thermostat, acting as the brain for that area, sensing the temperature and sending signals to the central controller. Number two, central controller panel. This panel receives requests from all zone thermostats and coordinates the system's response, managing the central heating and cooling unit. Dampers, motorized flaps within the ductwork, controlled by the panel, open and close to direct heated or cooled air only to the zones that need it. Smart integration. Modern systems often link with smart thermostats like Nest and apps, allowing scheduling, remote control, and this is really cool, voice commands for ultimate convenience. And you might ask how this works. Well, the process in action is this. Calling for heat. If the living room thermostat zone 1 calls for heat, the control panel turns on the furnace and opens the damper from zone 1. Airflow management. If the upstairs zone 2 is already warm, its damper stays closed or partially closed, preventing overheating and wasted energy. Pressure relief bypass dampers. To prevent pressure issues when dampers close, some systems use bypass dampers that redirect excess air back to the return, maintaining airflow. System shutdown. When all zones reach their set temperatures, the desired temperature. The central panel turns off the heating equipment and all dampers open for balanced air. The benefits of modern zoning: energy saving, heat only occupied spaces, cutting costs by up to 30%, custom comfort, different temperatures for different rooms, for instance, a warm living room, and maybe a cooler bedroom. I don't know if you all are like me, but sometimes I sleep better when I'm in a cooler room. And plus, why do you need your bedroom heated? I mean, you probably have a wool blanket or quilt or a minky or something like that. You don't need to spend a lot of money heating your bedroom at night. Improved air quality, less overall air circulation, reduces dust and allergens. And this is a biggie: extends the HVAC life, reduces strain on the furnace by lowering demand. So there are options out there. I mean, you can go back with what you've got. Say you've got a 20-year-old system and it's time to replace your heat pump or your outdoor condensing unit and your indoor furnace. And we've got a rebate for that, $500 for a heat pump. And it can be electric backup heat, like electric furnace, or it can be gas. We're not going to discriminate if you've got natural gas or propane. But you must have a heat pump, which is an air conditioner in the summer, a heater in the winter. And the heat pump does use electricity when it's operating. Of course, with gas and propane, you could bypass the heat pump in the wintertime and just use it as an air conditioner in the summertime. But for a SEER, SEER, seasonal energy efficiency ratio of 15 or greater, we offer a $500 cashback rebate to our members. So if you're a member of Farmers Electric and you're thinking about replacing your heating and air conditioning system, give the energy guy here, that's me, at Farmers Electric a call, 575-762-4466, 762-4466. You can do that, or you can go for one of these more modern heating systems that have zonal heating. And it makes so much sense. I mean, the technology's come to a point where you can pick out zones. And if you're in the living room or where you're spending most of your evening hours, maybe that's your zone, watching TV. And you just have that room, or the dining room or the bedrooms may not have a lot of airflow to them. And, just let them stay cool. Maybe the bathroom has its own zone. Of course, there's plumbing in there, so you definitely want to keep that warm, at least warm enough where you're not freezing pipes, right? This time of year, it's pretty cold. So, man, it is really a cool idea. And finally, the technology is to a point where, this is something that is out there and available to the public now. However, it probably comes with a price. We're 13 and a half minutes after the hour, and that's all well and good. But like I said, it's probably expensive. So this next section it's a poor man's zone heating, and that's what I do. Poor man's zonal heating. So I use electric space heaters and throws. Now, you hear a lot of people preach, don't use electric space heaters. They'll drive up your bill. Well, I think if you used them in every room and left them on all the time, yeah, they will add up. They will eventually add up. But if you're smart and you use them for zonal heating, they can actually be fairly efficient. So using electric space heaters and throws or blankets for zone heating efficiently warms occupied areas while saving energy by keeping central heating low. The central heating is the big unit, right, folks? I mean, if you've got electric heat, say you've got a gas furnace, that's where that's where 3/4 of your gas bill is going to go in the winter months. So in November, December, January, February, your 75% of your gas bill is going to be attributed to your heating, your gas heating or propane, whatever the case may be. Gas is a good price right now. Propane's a little on the high side. Electric and propane are really competitive heat sources right now, but gas is a little cheaper. But why heat the rooms that you're not even going to occupy, right? So you can turn down. Now, I'm not saying shut these doors off completely, particularly because your central units are sized proper. If they're sized properly, they include the size of these rooms you want to shut. And if there's no return air in there and it's out in the hallway, you're going to choke your system and create short cycling, which isn't good at all. So to be most efficient, leave the door open. However, you can lower the temperature on your central heating system. I suggest 68 degrees in the wintertime, and that's only because that's what the Department of Energy says. If they said a little warmer, I'd tell you a little warmer. If they told it was a little cooler, I'd tell you it's a little cooler. But I'm not going to tell you something that's contrary to that, because that's what you're going to hear everywhere you go. 68 degrees in the winter, 78 degrees in the summer, and that's what I do. But I use a fireplace for what? Zonal heating. My fireplace, I'm fortunate enough to have a fireplace that actually opens up to my den and to my living room. It's a double-sided, see-through, whatever you want to call it. So both rooms benefit. But fireplaces are great for zonal heating, particularly if you can find cheap wood somewhere or have access to cheaper wood. They're not efficient. Fireplaces aren't. I mean, some wood-burning stoves are. Pellet stoves can be more efficient. But just your standard fireplace, 70% of the heat goes right up the chimney and out into the atmosphere. So they're not the most efficient, but they do add ambiance. And if you want to snuggle up to a fire, it's a great evening. But they are nice, and they will take the chill off of a room. So they are considered zonal heating. But you can use space heaters, throws for zonal heating, occupied areas while saving energy by keeping your central heat low. But all of this requires strict safety. Plug heaters directly into walls, no extension cords. Keep them clear of flammable items with a 3-foot buffer. Never leave them or blankets unattended while sleeping, and regularly inspect cords for damage. Blankets are more energy efficient for personal warmth because they only use 50 to 200 watts, where a space heater, can use 750 to 1,500 watts. But going back to your central system, your outdoor heat pump uses typically around 5,000 watts. But if you're using your emergency heat, or you don't have a heat pump and you're just strictly going off your electric furnace, typically that's anywhere from 15,000 to 20,000 watts. But both electric blanket and space heaters offer great personal comfort and significant savings over heating with a whole home centrally. So lower that temperature. Go to 65. And for every degree below 68, you have the ability to save up to 8% of the heating portion of your bill. Let me say that again. For every degree you go below 68 degrees, you can save up to 8% on the portion of your bill that goes to heating. That's pretty good. Space heaters for zone heating, how it works. Heat only the rooms you're in, living room, office, den, while setting your central thermostat lower, making it great for large homes or drafty areas. There are different types. Radiant heaters. There's convection heaters, like ceramic. They all heat the air, and if you put them in, if you can put them close to your, fairly close to where you're sitting, that's where you're going to get the most comfort. Safety. Use models with tip over and overheat protection. Plug into a wall outlet. No extension cords. Remember, I've said that a couple times now. Maintain a 3-foot clear zone and turn off when leaving or when you're going to sleep. Electric throws and blankets for personal warmth. Energy savings use significantly less power, 50 to 200 watts, than most space heaters. making them very economical for direct warmth. So, and I mentioned this before, my wife and I have an electric blanket this time of year we put on, and it actually has its own zone. It's got two zones. It's a his and her zone. So she's got her own control and I've got my own control. But whoever goes in to get ready for bed first, put on their PJs, we turn on the heaters, both of them, at full blast. So it might be 200 watts, but it's only 200 watts for 10 minutes. And then you get in bed and it's toasty and warm. I call it cuddle weather when it's cold outside. So you got that opportunity. Plus those heaters are keeping you nice and comfortable, but in no time flat, both of us are reaching for those controls, turning them off because our body heat plus our blankets, old quilts, minkies, a wool blanket, whatever we may have, are keeping us warm enough. But throws are great for sofas, throws and blankets, for beds, even offices, providing warmth right where you are. Safety. Choose models with auto shutoff. Avoid folding or tucking wires. And never use with heating pads or if they're wet. And don't forget to unplug them when not in use. Best practices for both. We're talking about space heaters and electric throws or blankets. Layer up. Combined with warmer clothes, socks, and ceiling drafts for maximum comfort. Man, I will preach this till I die. Caulk is cheap. Clear silicone caulk is something everybody should invest in. A caulk gun, load it. When in doubt, caulk. Just all the way around your windows, where the window meets a different surface, where the window meets the wall surface. And it's clear silicone, so it's hard to mess it up. But lay a bead down, smooth it out with a wet finger or one of these plastic spoons, or there's an actual tool made for it. Works great. Weather stripping around doors, cheap fix, DIY. You can say you've got two doors in your house, front door, back door. Take you about 10 minutes for each door, and it'll make a world of difference, I promise you. But just dressing in layers, doesn't that make sense? I went to a high bill concern one time, and the kids met me at the door. Had no socks on their feet. And I made a point to say something. I said, you guys, no wonder you got your thermostat so high and using a lot of energy because you don't have socks on. And here it is in the middle, it's probably the middle of January. It's probably 20 degrees outside when I showed up at their house. And, just do things that make sense, folks. It's common sense. We're in an era where there's not a lot of common sense. So we can start fixing it one person at a time. Just start using a little common sense. Combine with warmer clothes, socks, and ceiling drafts for maximum comfort. Monitor power. Using too many high wattage devices, like multiple space heaters, on one circuit can be a hazard. Be mindful of your home's electrical load. Check regularly. Inspect cords for fraying or damage before each session. Here's some key takeaways. Zone heating with electric is smart for targeted warmth, but prioritize safety by using modern, certified devices with auto shutoffs, never leaving them unattended to prevent fire risk. Electric throws are the most energy-efficient choice for personal heat, while space heaters provide more room-level warmth. I hope that was helpful for you. Again, come by and grab one of these really cool brochures we have. Electrical Safety on the Farm, Guide to Power Outages, 101 easy ways to save energy and money, energy saving tips, energy efficiency, save money and help the environment, electrical safety. That's general electrical, outdoor electrical safety. And finally, what we talked about last week, questions to ask when replacing your HVAC system. All right. I haven't said this yet, so I'm going to say it. Who needs coffee when you got Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy? Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy is the only podcast awarded the prestigious Energy Star label. On this day in history, this is the most boring day. If your birthday is December 6th, I'm sorry. I looked up famous people, that were born on this day, and it gave me a list of about 20, and I've never heard of any of them except for the lady that played the mother on Bewitched. The old show with Darren, and I can't remember her name. Elizabeth Montgomery was the actress that played, I wish I could remember her name. Anyway, her mother, Endora, I think her name was, the mother. She was born on this day, and I don't even know what year, because I didn't write it down. So, and even this day in history is boring, except for this one. This is pretty cool. This day in history, December 6, 1865, the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution officially ending the institution of slavery is ratified. And this is a quote, "Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction." With these words, the single greatest change wrought by the American Civil War was officially noted in the Constitution. So this day, December 6, 1865, the 13th Amendment was ratified. This is kind of terrible, this next one. December 6, 1907, a coal mine disaster in West Virginia in Marion County. An explosion in a network of mines owned by the Fairmont Coal Company killed 161 coal miners. It was the worst mining disaster in American history and may still be to this day. I didn't look it up, but 361 coal miners perished in those network of explosions. That was always a fear of mine when I was a kid, that I was, probably because I watched too many of those Westerns like Bonanza and The Rifleman. There were things that were kind of a big deal to me as a kid that turns out they're not such a big deal as an adult. Quicksand is one of them. I was so worried as a child that I was going to deal with quicksand at some point in my life, that I was going to accidentally. Being trapped in a mine, in a collapsed mine, was another one that I thought, oh gosh, man, I just know this is going to happen to me someday in my lifetime. I'm just a little kid, but I know sometime I'll be working in a mine and it's going to collapse or explode, and I'll be buried in the rubble. What's another one? Snake bite. I remember my brothers and I had a snake bite kit, and we just knew we were going to use it someday. There's a bunch of them. Piranhas. I just knew that I'd be swimming in some lake somewhere in the Amazon as an adult, and be eaten alive by a swarm of piranhas. But turns out they're not such a big thing. Oh, one more that just came to mind: transporting nitroglycerin. I just knew that I was going to be moving nitroglycerin for whatever reason, and the wagon that I was pulling was going to get, bumpy, and the horses were going to get out of control, and I was going to blow up. That's what happens when you try to watch these wholesome Westerns when you're a kid, and puts all this fear into your mind, and I have to deal with it through my adolescence, and finally as an adult I'm like, it's not such a big deal after all. But this day in history, oh man, I don't have the year. We'll have to look it up later. Irish Free State is declared. I'm thinking it was in the 20s, like 1921. The Irish Free State, comprising 4/5 of Ireland, is declared, ending a 5-year Irish struggle for independence from Britain. Like other autonomous nations of the former British Empire, Ireland was to remain part of the British Commonwealth. symbolically subject to the king. The Irish Free State later severed ties with Britain and is now called the Republic of Ireland. And there you have it. This day in history. Kind of boring, but there was some cool things that happened. But, you know, if you're born on December 6th, why don't you write me on Facebook Messenger on our Facebook page, Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy, or send me a question about anything as far as that goes. You know, this airtime is cheap, so ask me anything, but preferably ask me something about energy efficiency, and I'll try to do my best to answer it. I haven't had a question in a while, but the last time we had a question asked, it was anonymous, so don't be afraid to ask me a question. Use your name. I'd be happy to give you a shout out. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you have a great Saturday. Don't forget to shop local. Keep all these folks that you live with going. Help them keep those stores open. Commerce is a good way to keep a town alive and well. And you know, there's always wondering, you know, how, doing things for kids or, you know, things like that. We could use the extra revenue in taxes and gross receipts. So keep your money local. Until next time, we'll see you.